Oh, welcome in the latest episode of that SEC podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bratton. I go by SEC Mike on Twitter, and I'm joined as always by my cousin Shane, who goes by Big Orange Balls on Twitter. What are you up to, you big Tennessee homer?
Hey, babe, what's going on?
Oh, man. I'm fired up, brother. We got some breaking news we're going to get to in a little bit. We're going to have a little fun on this show. And I got a little teaser, Shane. We teased it on the last one. I'm going to tease it from the start here because it was such a great time. And I just want to public shout out to Rusty Manziel on three. He's with On 3 now, Shane. He sat down in studio for over an hour. That's going to be the next pod. People are probably like, what the hell? It's not even this one? Why are you bringing this up? But that's what we, in showbiz, we call a little bit of a teaser.
Mike, I tell you what, it has been an absolute train wreck on this end. I mean, I got up this morning, and it's just one of those days. You ever have one of those days? It's like,
oh, yeah.
Like, if I would have left 30 seconds earlier, I wouldn't have got behind Papaw Jones coming down, and have to take 35 miles an hour, and there's nowhere to pass him, and then it leads to me catching every red light on the way to work. So I hope whoever's listening to this in the morning is not having that kind of day. It's Friday. Your weekend's upon us. Sooner than later, you'll have a cold beer in your hand. But, Mike, I needed this pod to lift me up and get these guys started. So it's funny because when I put it on, no joke, as soon as I put the pod in, because I listened to it too. I know it sounds stupid, but I listened to the pod as well. And as soon as I did, he turned off the highway. I was like, okay, all right. So things started moving in the right direction. So I'm not saying it was, a coincidence or anything, but the pod helps.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So let's get right into it, Shane. The SEC, just as we were set to record here, they've made it official, Shane, staying at 8 conference games for 2024. Now, this is apparently just a one-year deal, and they're staying away from, how us and others have put it out there where, Tennessee catches Vanderbilt and Florida catches Georgia. They're staying away from that, so they don't want anyone to say this ain't permanent. No permanent games and all this. And so I don't know if I read too much into that, but just I think the point being is they're going to release the schedule. And, hey, credit the SEC, Shane. We're not big fans of this 8-game schedule, but they are listening in some degree because we've been preaching, why in the world are you putting out these football schedules in the middle of the season? They have finally kind of wised up to that, and they announced here on Thursday, that on June 14th, so less than 2 weeks, they are going to do a live show on SEC Network where they are going to reveal the 2024 schedule. So, I think that's pretty neat, Shane. Now, a little caveat there. What they're going to do is they're going to reveal the games and where they are without revealing the dates. So the dates will still be kind of MIA, but what we really care about is who we playing, where we playing them, and we'll know that June 14th.
Absolutely. Flag Day. Mark it in your books. It's a holiday. I don't know what Flag Day means, but today it means there's something going on with the SEC and you need to be a part of it. Me and Mike were talking. I don't know if this is official, but we're kicking around the idea of going live during this thing because I think this is pretty cool, man. I think it's a pretty cool event. Yeah. We get to see the future, what the scheduling is going to look like with Oklahoma and Texas and some of these schools we've not seen in a while. So I'm pretty excited about it, Mike, and I think the live idea is a pretty cool one. So we get a little closer to date, we'll give you some more details on that. But mark it in your book, Flag Day. We're going to have schedule day here in the SEC.
Yeah, I was just thinking, Shane, what a fun idea that will be. Everybody will be tuned in to the SEC Network seeing what the schedule is. And then once that is over, flip on or YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all that. We'll be live, breaking it down, sharing our thoughts in real time. And the great, they do a heck of a job at SEC Network, Shane. I'm not going to disparage them, but they can't curse, they can't drink, they can't tell you what they really think sometimes. We can tell you, so we're going to lay it to you straight. You know what?
Absolutely. I may be about 4 or 5 in here, so there's no edit when we go live. So that's my only concern, Mike. But brother, I will say this: I am kind of curious. I think some similar topics that we've discussed this week. I don't expect anything too alarming. I expect to see a Texas and a Texas A&M game. I expect to see a Tennessee and possibly an Alabama game.
Right.
I may be crazy, but it just feels like, in this 1 year trial that we're still going to see some of those matchups we've grown to love and some new ones that we're anticipating.
Yeah, did you see? I bet you didn't see this, Shane. Greg Sankey was asked as soon as they announced this, as soon as he said, we're staying at 8, we're doing this SEC Network June 14th reveal. First question, Shane, will Texas and Texas A&M play in 2024? You know what Greg Sankey said, Shane?
What'd he say?
He said, tune in June 14th to find out. so he's hyping it up already.
All right.
So
he went full Ric Flair there. I love it.
But all right, Shane. So, yeah, like I said, we got some fun stuff here. Shout out to the callers helping us get through this week. We got 2 great questions, Shane. Let's highlight that call-in line one more time. That's where these questions are coming. If you want to get featured on the show, give us a call at 615-965-5152. And that number is in the show notes of every show, so you can check that out. But we got from a Tennessee homer, Shane. This probably was Shane in a different voice. Cousin Cody from Knoxville, Tennessee. Let's kick it over to Cody.
Hey, what's going on? How you boys doing? This is Cody from Knoxville, Tennessee. Go Vols, baby. All right, I got a question for y'all. Give me your top 3 projected offenses and defenses for the East and the West. I'm very interested to hear this. UT's number 1 on both, but whatever. All right. Love y'all. Keep up the great work. Love the podcast. Cousin Shane, keep those big orange wops up. Proud of you, brother. See y'all.
All right, Shane. So Cody wants to know top defenses, top offenses from the SEC East, the SEC West. He wanted to be known. Of course, Tennessee should be featured on both categories. So what do you got? Let's do SEC East first. The top offenses. I got my list. I don't know if you got a list. How you want to do this?
Well, I kind of wanted to ask you a little bit on the offense because there's different ways at looking at it. Are we just looking for efficiency? Are we looking for stats? Are we just looking if Team A, Team B lines up, who do you think's got the best offense from top to bottom? I was just trying to, because I think you could go different ways with this question. So how did you do your list?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of – the beauty of college football, Shane, some of it is unknown and some of it is projections. And so I'm kind of looking at it like at the end of the season, maybe not stats-wise, because I think just looking at stats, that's for losers. But
yeah,
which team do you think will feature the most explosive, high-scoring, efficient offense by the end of the season? So there certainly is some projections, at least in my rankings. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely, and that's kind of the way I went with it. So a lot of people are going to say Shane's biased and all this stuff, but guys, we're talking about explosive offense. Which teams are going to have it?
Yep.
So when I'm looking at the East, Mike, I got it simply broke down into 3. Number 1, give me those Tennessee Volunteers. I just think there's not a more dynamic, more explosive offense in the game. Now you got Joe Milton launching it 85 yards. Squirrel, Brewback. I think this is going to be fun, exciting offense, and I don't see it missing a step here, even though Hendon Hooker's not in uniform. So now, top to bottom, do they have the best talent in the East? No, Mike, they don't. I just think that when we get to the end of the year and we say who had the best offense this season from the East, number 1, I'm going Tennessee Vols.
Right. Well, Shane, I'll tell you why you are right. It's the Tennessee Vols, Shane, and to me it's all about Josh Heupel. And I just think, just look at his track record. I mean, he's just everywhere he's been, the incredible production. Tennessee's offense was dead in the water before they hired Heupel. They were great right off the bat. So I'm right there with you. I'm not fully buying the Joe Milton, but hell, even if he doesn't live up to the hype, we got Nico. We all know that. You mentioned Squirrel White. Brew McCoy, I think, is one of the most underrated receivers in the SEC. Ramel Keaton, the transfer, Dante Thornton. Two guys, Tennessee fans know these names, but the rest of the SEC is going to find them out this year. Chaz Nimrod, Nathan Leacock, they got some real weapons at that receiver position. Yep. And, you know, the secret, it's not a well-kept secret, but everybody wants to look at the passing game. Tennessee rushes more than they throw, Shane, and they got Jalen Wright, Jabari Small, Dylan Sampson. So they have got a good running back room, too. So as long as Josh Heupel's up there, they're going to be in this discussion for top offense in the SEC East. And I'm right there with you. I think it's Tennessee number one.
Absolutely. Oh, I can hear them now. Just remember when you were doing the video clips there at the coaches and you heard somebody in the background, tut, 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 tut. I can hear them now getting their tweets out. Did you expect anything less from the Tennessee homer? Oh, Mike, number 2, I've got the Georgia Bulldogs. Obviously, we've got a little bit of change there at the helm, but this is a team that is absolutely loaded. So when you look at talent in the East, I don't think there's a more talented group than what is in Athens. I just think their offense doesn't need to be as explosive as Tennessee to win ball games. So I don't think we get to the end of the season and say, damn, Georgia's got such a great offense. They do, top to bottom. A lot of these guys are going to be playing on Sundays. And I do think when you look at that Georgia roster, they're absolutely loaded, and there's no way I can have them any lower than 2 here.
Right. No, and that's exactly who I got, number 2 as well, Shane. Of course, monkeying off to the NFL, Mike Bobo, he was already in staff, but he'd been promoted. So, I think there will be, I don't want to say a drop-off because I don't know if that's the right word because Mike Bobo is so established and it's more about the players anyways, but that could be a hiccup. Obviously, Stetson moving on to the NFL as well, like you referenced there. But, hey, tease that Rusty Manziel interview one more time. Yeah. He says, my God, you should see this offensive line they got. So they may have the best offensive line in not just the SEC but the country next season. I think they got the best player in all of football, Brock Bowers. Add Dominique Lovett, the transfer from Missouri, of course, Thomas from Mississippi State, Ladd McConkey, probably the most underrated receiver in the SEC. And, don't forget Arian Smith, Oscar Delp, and another guy that Rusty told me about, freshman tight end Lawson Lucky. All they got is elite tight ends down there at Athens, Shade. So, Georgia, I wouldn't even be stunned if they were the number 1 offense, but, I'm still giving the slight edge to Tennessee right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So who do you got number 3?
Number 3 was tough, man. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of went round on this one here, and there's a few factors. I like South Carolina. Mm-hmm. I really wish Lloyd would have stayed. Mm-hmm. I think they got one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver in the game. So you can make that argument. Spencer, if he keeps playing like he did last season, he was close. So this one was close for me with South Carolina, but I kind of went with Kentucky. And the reason I did is they went out shopping for an offense, man. They pulled pieces. One of the, I think, better running backs they got from Vanderbilt. I think Leary's legit. Honestly, I think they got one of the fastest damn wide receivers. I think they're going to find ways to get Brown the ball, So when I look at an explosive offense and fun to watch, that's something that Kentucky's kind of lacked here a few years. There's been hit or miss. There's been some games. But I think with Cohen back, I think they get back on track. So slight edge. Give me the Wildcats here.
Yeah, when you look at Shane reading off my list here, that's who I got number 3 too. Shane, Kentucky. You referenced there, Liam Cohen return. That's huge. Devin Leary, Ray Davis, adding them to the mix. The reason I didn't consider them 1 or 2 though is that offensive line. They were such a disappointment. Now they've added via the transfer portal there as well. So hopefully we get that shored up. If we do, maybe they do move up this list because they, like you said, the best receiving core probably Kentucky has ever had. They've got some real playmakers all around the football there in Lexington. So Kentucky, if I'm a Kentucky fan, it seems like Shane's starting to buy into that Kentucky hype. I love to see it.
It seems like this time every year, man. I don't know what it is. It's that pretty blue helmet you got down there. It's like those. Remember, like they used to do them movies. I don't know if they did that, but they actually like pieced in like popcorn or something, and then you're like, man, why do I want popcorn all of a sudden? You know, now, why am I wanting to buy into Kentucky here all of a sudden? He's got Kentucky all over his desk there. I think that's the problem here. So yeah, I just think they're going to be fun. That's the key for me. Is they're going to be loose. I don't know how good the defense is going to be, so there's going to be some shootouts, man. So that I think that plays in favor for an efficient offense toward the end of the season.
I think what you were searching for there, Shane, was subliminal messages. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's one of them big ones. Yeah, boy, that's way too many syllables there, you know.
All right, how about SEC West, Shane? Who you got as a top offense in the SEC West?
Oh, Mike, this one is another one. It's tough. I'm not gonna lie. I want to give it to Crimson Tide just because I think they're super talented. But that quarterback situation is I can't get behind it right now. So with the explosive spring game that I saw, I think it's the offensive line looks freaking I mean, they look freaking mean, as hell. I like this LSU team. So right now, I've got a slight edge to them LSU Tigers.
Ooh, great minds think alike, Shane. And LSU would have only 2 SEC teams, Shane, that returned the starting quarterback and the offensive coordinator this season. So that's a pretty wild stat. I just think that, look all across college football, man. Not that year 1 was bad by any means, but year 2, there's usually a big jump, particularly when you're bringing back the quarterback. So I think Jaden Daniels has an even better year. They're loaded at receiver. They just added, this kind of went under the radar, at least my radar, Shane. They just added former Notre Dame running back Logan Diggs, so he's familiar with Brian Kelly. He rushed for 114 yards last season on Clemson's defense, also rushed for 90 on South Carolina. So this is a guy that he should be ready to go in the SEC. Mason Taylor, the tight end, we all know who his dad is. Yeah. You said the offensive line, all 5 back. Yeah. I think LSU is an easy answer for me. Number 1 offense in the West.
Absolutely. And they look mean, too. It reminds me of them. You remember the program when that guy's going out and slamming his head in the window? That's LSU offensive line right now. So it's been a while since we've seen it, but these boys look pretty damn good during the spring ball.
So who you got number 2 in the West?
2, I gave Bama. I know it's you're looking at it, like Shane, they ain't got a quarterback. It doesn't matter, man. This team's super talented. You talk about some big uglies up front. It's probably the biggest damn offensive line to walk through Tuscaloosa. And then you've got a slew of running backs back there that could literally start at any Division I school in the country. Yeah. And it's not just one. I'm talking handfuls, 3-4 guys. They're deep as hell. I think some wide receivers step up here. Again, we got some early first-rounders at some point. They got talent, brother, and they just got to put it together with somebody at the quarterback spot, and I have full confidence that they're going to find it. So this one here, I'm kind of having to paint a picture a little bit, but I think Alabama, when we get to the end of the season, we're going to say, damn, that offense took a huge step forward.
Well, Shane, I'm happy because we finally got something different here. Alabama not even on my board here, Shane, believe it or not. I'm going them Arkansas Razorbacks with K.J. Jefferson there, Rocket Sanders, maybe the best running back room Arkansas's ever had. Rocket, A.J. Green, Rashad Dominion, Dominique Johnson, can't forget about that tank back there. Dan Enos back as offensive coordinator, getting back to a little bit more what Sam Pittman wants to be, at least from an offensive identity standpoint. They've added 7 transfers to that offense. The receivers certainly a question mark, tight end a question mark, but again, they've added via the transfer portal. I think Arkansas, Shane, they're going to live and die by this offense this year. So I got all the respect in the world for K.J. Jefferson. Give me Arkansas number 2.
Okay, man, I like it.
So you got
this. You kind of hinted at number 3 for me here. I kind of went round and around here. I love KJ Jefferson. Obviously, anybody that's ever listened to this pod knows I'm a huge Jefferson fan. They know I'm a Rocket Sanders fan, but there's some pieces missing, and that's my concern. I'm not saying that it doesn't that they don't find it this season. But we're talking who's the number 3, who's the number 2 best offense in the SEC, Mike. I kind of filtered mine down to Ole Miss. I looked at Texas A&M. I tried to make a push for Texas A&M.
Yep.
I just don't know how much Bobby's going to have to play here. So then that limits it. Now, this could seriously change after week 3, week 4. I'm saying, damn, they got some of the best wide receivers in the country. Why did I not pick Texas A&M? I could see it. Arkansas, I could see it. They got some – there's a lot of people excited about this next crop of receivers coming through. I still think they got one of the best running backs and quarterback in the SEC. But I love Junkins, man. How can I have him on my Heisman list and can't have him on the offense? You know what I'm saying? I love what Lane Kiffin does with his offense. I think this is the year Dart takes that step forward and becomes that kind of explosive offense they had a couple seasons ago, like with Matt Corral and them. So, yeah brother, I think that's who I'm going to go with here on the 3 spot. Give me Ole Miss.
Man, you're almost convincing me, Shane, because, Lane Kiffin's such a great play caller.
Yeah.
I can't disagree with anything you just said. I flirted with Ole Miss, but I went different direction. So it's nice to be a little bit different. I went Texas A&M, Shane, and that may be bold after what we saw last year on the field from them Aggies, but I just got so much faith in Bobby Petrino working with this talent. Connor Wigman came on strong at the end of last season, and he's got all the pieces around it. And even Max Johnson, if it's Max Johnson, can't write him off. But Evan Stewart, Aniyah Smith, Moose Muhammad, probably the best trio of receivers in the entire SEC, if not the country. They got a tight end, Donovan Green. Don't forget Jake Johnson, younger brother of Max Johnson. He was number 1 tight end 2 years ago. If he comes along, it seems like these Jimbo offenses, of course, it's not necessarily his offense anymore, but it seems like his offenses go when they have a tight end. They may have 2 elite tight ends. So A&M, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. They returned 82% of the offensive production. That's number 1 in the SEC, returning 5 offensive linemen with starting experience and signed 5-star running back Reuben Owens. So if A&M can get that offense figured out, they're going to be a dangerous team. It seems like we say that every year. So I could be dead wrong. You know what?
Did you think of Mississippi State at all? I mean, just given the fact that Will's out there and they're going to let him cook and throw it, it sounds like we're going to still get a lot of offense play here.
Right.
I mean, obviously we don't have the Pirate with us anymore, but it's going to be tough to slow down this offense as efficient as it's been the last few years. Did you even give them a little consideration here?
Oh, yeah, definitely, Shane. As you mentioned it, Will Rogers. I love him. Jaden Wally, the receiver. I love him. Marks at running back. But the problem for me with Mississippi State, and I think the transitions is going to be good. I think it's going to pay off. We're going to get Xavier Thomas more touches. We're going to get Marks more touches. We're going to get some of these talented playmakers more touches. They added a couple tight ends. They haven't had a tight end on the roster in like 5-6 seasons, Shane. So the problem with Mississippi State, and hell, maybe it's not a problem, but for me, it's hard to project just how good they're going to be right out the gate. But it's all about the quarterback. We all know that, and they've got the right quarterback. Does he fit the system? That remains a slight question. If he can come out and there's no transition, it's not just him, but it's the offensive line, it's receivers, tight end. Like I said, who literally weren't on campus a season ago. If all these pieces can gel together, yes. Coordinator helped Appalachian State beat Texas A&M. We cannot forget that. Imagine what he can do with Mississippi State talent, with the all-time leading passer in school history. Mississippi State, they may be the most slept-on team in the SEC.
God, there's going to be so many people pissed at this list. I can hear it now. We're doing like 3. I mean, seriously, we are, in essence, pissing off 4 fan bases.
Oh, yeah.
From the East, 4 from the West. And if we're not high enough, it may be even more. So this is a terrible idea. Thanks, cuz.
Well, you guys
tag him in it so he can feel the hate.
Let's get the defenses, Shane. Who's your top defense out of the East?
Well, I think you got to go Vanderbilt here, right? No, I just wanted to mention them. I think this one's. I mean, how can you say anything else but Georgia Bulldogs
Yeah,
here?
yeah.
That's what they built down there, and I mean that's the staple of Kirby's defense. So yeah, give me Georgia Bulldogs easy.
Yeah, and the continuity helps bringing back Schumann and Will Muschamp. Obviously, that's big. 70% of that defensive production is returning. Michael Williams, Nazir Stackhouse, Smile Munnan, Chaz Chambliss, Javon Bullard, Malachi Starks, Kamari Lassiter. I just mentioned like 8 of the best defensive players in the country last year, Shane. They're all back. They're deep. By Georgia standards, the defense was below average last year, and I think they were probably the 3rd best defense in the country. So I've expected them to be nothing less than the best defense in the country this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't believe we wasted this much time talking about it.
Who's your number 2 defense in the East?
Maybe a surprise here, Mike, but give me MIZ, baby. I think this. You knew I was going there, didn't you?
Yeah.
What I love about it, obviously, I loved, how they performed last year. I know you're looking at the records and some of the games, and Tennessee fans especially, they're going to tweet out, "Oh, but look at this score," But I'm telling you, brother, if they were deeper last year, this team would have won a lot more games. And I think that's the case. They're deeper this year. They're bigger. They're faster. They're stronger. That secondary, oh my gosh, they're mean as hell. It's a lockdown secondary, man. And in this league, that's what you got to have. I love Mizzou here, and I think they surprise a lot of teams this year, and it's going to be because of this side of the ball right here. So give me Mizzou at number 2.
Yeah, I think you nailed it, Shane. Blake Baker, defensive coordinator, back for a second year. I think this is the first time in 4, maybe 5 seasons Mizzou's had the same defensive coordinator, as crazy as that is to believe. But he did such a great job. He definitely deserved that extension and raise he got from the Tigers. Tyron Hopper at linebacker, one of the best in the SEC. I think they got the best duo of corners in the SEC, and in Chris Abrams-Drain, Enos Rakestraw, Joseph Charleston back at safety, Darius Robinson, and Christian Williams on that defensive line. Yeah, I mean, there's some beasts up there at Missouri, and people sleeping on them, but
yeah,
you better watch out, man. That's going to be a nasty, nasty defense.
Absolutely.
So who rounds out your list? Number 3.
Oh, man. All right, here's the deal, man. It feels like South Carolina is just a bubble team for me.
Yeah.
They've got some pieces that especially like their secondary. I mean, they're going to be reloading. They're going to be exciting. They're going to be fun to watch. But again, what does that look like week 8, week 9 when we're in the throes of thing? And I think that's something that Tennessee went out and improved, was that competitive depth. So I'm going to give the edge to my Tennessee Volunteers here at number 3. Deep, son. This is going to be a better squad than it was last year. And brother, it wasn't nothing to write home to mom about. But, when I get to this 3rd spot, it's almost like I'm picking the lesser of 2 evils here, So I think when it comes down to it, Tennessee's going to have more depth than South Carolina. So I'm going to give them the slight edge.
Yeah. Well, to your point.
Not biased at all.
To your point, Shade, I certainly did consider South Carolina, like you said. I love that secondary. Linebackers should be better this year, but I'm kind of questioning how good overall talent. They got some good frontline defensive linemen, but I don't know about the depth right now. I'm not going Tennessee. I'm going Kentucky. Shane, Brad White, defensive coordinator, back for another year. Deion Walker, one of the most underrated freshman in the country last year on that defensive line. Of course, he's back. J.J. Weaver, give me 6 over there. Trevin Wallace, emerging linebacker. Jordan Lovett at safety. Derek Jackson. Trevcon Ripka. I mean, they have got some pieces up there, and they attacked it via the portal as well to shore up their deficiencies. I think Kentucky. Give me number 3, Kentucky defense in the East this year.
Any other considerations here? I mean,
I think
Florida.
They would kind of have to come out of nowhere, but they got the pieces. And if they hit on this defensive coordinator Armstrong, we're sleeping. We're sleeping on the entire Florida program. I mean, they could win 7-8 games. It would not stun me. I mean, they got pieces. We're kind of totally dismissing them because of the schedule, because of the lack of experience in this system. But man, they're just such a hard team to peg.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, and I kind of, even that spring game, I was like, man, that defense just looks so damn good. But everybody wanted to blame how bad the offense was.
Yeah.
And not give the defense credit, which I think is dumb. I think Florida's got a pretty good defense. Just again, competitive depth. What does that look like toward the end of the season? I think they're going to surprise a few people, and a lot of that's going to be on the defense side of the ball.
Mm-hmm. So who's your top defense out of the West?
Alabama.
Next.
Next. What you got number 2? No, I'm telling you, brother, I'm not saying they're like Georgia, but I'm saying they're like Georgia. They're mean. They're fast. They're deep. They got one of the best. They got their secondary, man.
Yeah.
That Kool-Aid kid, I tell you, he is going to be an absolute animal on Sundays. I hope he goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. If we could, maybe we could just tank for Kool-Aid. Is that a thing? Can we do that? Because I would love to have him. Brother, this roster is not only loaded, it's deep as hell. Alabama's getting back to defense, and I think there were some young kids making some boneheaded mistakes last year. I think we had some growing pains, and I think we have a bounce back big time from Crimson Tide here. Expect some shutouts.
Yeah, Kevin Steele back in the fold, getting back to more of that traditional Nick Saban defense, so that should pay off big time. Dallas Turner is an incredible athlete as well. Keep hearing great things about the true freshman Caleb Downs back here at safety. Yeah, I mean, they got too many guys to list here, but
too many.
Alabama should be an easy number 1.
Mm-hmm.
So who you got number 2?
Number 2, I had a tough one with this one, man, but I got to go Texas A&M, man. I was close. I almost went LSU, so that's going to give away who my third one is. But I just think Texas A&M has got what it takes to be an ugly, mean, ugly defense in the SEC. The defensive line, the secondary. They're deep, man. I mean, they've got no holes. I mean, they could probably use a little more depth at linebacker, but who cares, They got everything else. It is lined up perfectly. So give me the Aggies here. This is and that Alabama is highly touted as I have them. Texas A&M is not far behind these guys. Right. I think this is a mean old defense.
Yeah, actually, I got the same 2, Shane. I just flipped the order. So I went LSU number 2. I like Matt House. Same deal. I think they'll get better year 2 in his defensive system. Harold Perkins, I think he's the best defensive player in the country. Mason Smith is back. Makai Wingo. Omar Spates, the Oregon State transfer. And they loaded up on defensive backs in the transfer portal. LSU, Shane, they added 11 defensive players in the transfer portal. And, if you bring it into someone to LSU, they're no scrub. You know what I mean? So These are going to be contributors for Brian Kelly's squad. A lot of faith. More star power, I think, is what's wowing me a little bit. That was the difference with A&M. But you're dead on with A&M. I mean, they could have the best defensive line in the entire country if they live up to the potential. And that's where these games in the SEC are won, in the line of scrimmage. If they can get the most out of that unit, hell, I mean, A&M could have the best defense in the SEC. I mean, I'm not ready to go quite that far, but it wouldn't stun me either. So, common theme with the Aggies, Shay, tons of potential. Can they unlock it? I mean, and no one's got the answer till we see it this fall. You know what?
Yeah, I'm getting.
It's
like
got to be frustrating. I mean, I got to be honest with you. If I'm an A&M fan right now, I'm frustrated because we got all this talent, because we should be winning games, and I think they will. I think they'll win a lot more this year. But how many? I mean, even 8-4 with this roster, I don't think that's very good. You know what I mean? Like, they should be shooting for 9, 10, hell, 11 wins.
Well, that's what pisses me off, because you even take last year's team and you put them in a different state and a different program, playing a different offense and defense. You're like, all right, there's no question they're making a bowl. Hell, they're making a run for an SEC championship. There may be 1 or 2 games off,
Right.
But it felt like anything and everything that could go wrong did go wrong. It's kind of like my drive this morning, Like, it's just every time you get a little open, a camper pulls out and you're behind you got to sit there behind this camper for 35 minutes. So, Mike, I'm with you. I think the Aggies should be frustrated. They should be, Mike. They've look how much time they've had to. Everybody's been ready for Texas to come in here. This was the Aggies' time to make some noise and establish themselves as the big brother of the SEC. And it just feels like they're just fiddle farting around here, and not making bowl games is ridiculous. And I don't want to get on the Texas A&M thing, Mike. You get me fired up already. We've done that. Listen to last season. There's plenty of hate coming out. This is a new chapter, and with that new chapter, we're going to start with a hell of a defense. We got a hell of a program here. I think Texas A&M is going to have a legit shot at a championship run, and it's going to start in the trenches with the biggest, baddest defensive line this side of the Mississippi.
Yep.
Or close to it. Sorry, George. I mean, up there. Wait, they're on that side of the Mississippi. Yeah, on that side of the Mississippi. That's exactly the stat I want out there.
I'm going to throw up a map on the YouTube just to
I'm not. This is not big words and maps. Shane's you got me all over the place here.
All right, last one real quick, Shane. I just love this question. We even got it. Cousin Ollie's getting big time when we got other callers. Cousin Hugh calling out and challenging Ollie. Let's see if Ollie's man enough to accept his challenge.
All right, this is Hugh Clark, take two again. I would love for South Carolina and Kentucky to start playing for a gold pair of sunglasses. And if you could tell Cousin Ollie on this game this year, I'd like to get in touch with him. We'll bet a pair of Ray-Bans or whatever he'd like to do on that game. Go Gamecocks. That's what's up, boys. Keep it up. Peace.
All right, Chase. So I just thought it would be fun if there's any trophy ideas, kind of like Cousin Hugh here says, hey, battle for the Ray-Bans here when South Carolina, Kentucky meet. A lot of these games, they already play for a trophy. So not that we have, have to add a trophy for every game or anything like that, but just the perfect example for me. Like this is what came to my mind, Shane. The Egg Bowl. Yes, I realize they play. We're not getting rid of the Egg Bowl. That'd be foolish. But considering they play on Thanksgiving, I think it'd be great if they give out like a Turduncan, a la John Madden, and give like the MVP of the best turkey leg or what have you.
Absolutely.
But I also thought, Shane, wouldn't it be great? And I don't know if they do this, but almost like along with the Egg Bowl, if maybe they played for the Pirate Patch to honor Mike Leach, final game he ever coached. I mean, why not add that to the greatest rivalry in possibly college football, the Egg Bowl? Let's throw in a Pirate Patch here or something. That was kind of the idea, the whole reason I wanted to play this one here.
No, I like that, Mike. I obviously I hope they do some stuff for the Pirate. I think this one is going to be a good one too because Lane had a lot of respect for him as well. It just never felt like they feuded. It's not like the Ole Miss, Mississippi State we grew up to, but it felt like they had enough respect for each other. So I hope they do something to honor, and I'm sure they will, Mike.
Or maybe just put a Pirate Patch on the golden egg or something, with his initials or something.
Yeah, we could do something, Mike. We can make it happen. So the egg's awesome too. If you've not heard the history, that we've got an old history lesson talking about how that trophy originated. Because that's the shape of footballs it used to be back in the day. So, pretty cool setup and one of my favorite games. So, absolutely would love to see that.
And the only other one I really wanted to mention, Shane, I don't know if you know this because hell. We're new to Texas and Oklahoma too, but they play for like this golden cowboy hat, I believe. Okay. I wanna post the SEC logo in the middle of that golden cowboy hat the first time they play, just to let it be known. Hey, these are two SEC teams now. I think that'd be great.
Yes, absolutely. Broadcast it for everybody. Another one was that Florida-Georgia game. It's dubbed the largest outdoor cocktail party, but they play for an oar, which for me just doesn't seem right. It seems like we should be playing for a handle of booze, I mean, that's how they got their name. Is one of the media guys noticed a fan trying to hand a cocktail to an on-duty officer, so the thing kind of snowballed. So it's a big old party. So yeah, let's start handing out some handles there.
Oh man, I would love that.
I like the glasses idea. I think that's fun. Kentucky fans hate it. You know, South Carolina fans love it. That one's becoming one of my favorite games. I'm kind of glad that this is becoming a rivalry. You know, not saying that it wasn't in years past, but these two really have fired it up here the last couple of seasons, and they're all going to be picking at each other year in, year out.
Yeah. Well, hey, buddy, that's all I got on this episode of the show. You got anything before we hop off the line?
No, it's been a wild, long week, and I you know, it's been a while since we had real content, you know, so we don't know what to do with ourselves. But keep the calendar set, you know, the Flag Day. Remember that. That's going to be us. We're going to be talking.
Is it really
SEC,
Flag Day? You keep saying that. I've heard of Flag Day.
Mike,
but
I just learned something. You know, it's like when I learn a new word, I want to use it 15 times. I just found out because I looked at my schedule when you told me. I was like, God, I hope. You know, I don't have softball or something like that. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, it's Flag Day. And I'm like, I have no idea what that means. It's like Tree Day or something, you know. I don't like get your flags out, you know. So I don't know. Somebody's probably yelling at the radio like, you dumbass, this is the most important day of the life, you know, but I have no clue. So but I do know that on that day we're gonna try to do a live broadcast to talk about 2024, which is going to be awesome. Like I said, seeing Texas and Oklahoma on the schedule, see what some of these I mean, we're going to find out, you know, some of these rivalries that potentially could be going away. Are we going to get to still see those in 2024? So I think that's awesome, and I can't wait to share it with you guys and girls. So keep your YouTubes on, subscriptions, notifications on. Yeah, I'm looking for the word. I'll just keep talking till I find it. And whenever it happens, we'll send you an alert. But
well,
other than that,
what
Mike,
I think
I've
is
got
great
nothing.
about the live videos, real quick, Shane, I think there's a way I can do it to where we just shoot it out and it goes to YouTube, it goes to Facebook, it goes to Twitter, it goes to Instagram, it goes to all of them live. Whatever platform you consume this podcast, you can view it in real time. So that's kind of one of the advantages of doing it like that. That's
cool, man. I dig it. I ain't a part of that problem, but you know, I'll be there. I'll be on this side of the mic, ready to go live.
All right, brother. Well, hey, that's a perfect place. So don't forget, check out Saturday night special edition Rusty Manziel, and then the audio version will be out Monday as a normal show. But man, that's all I got, brother. I can't thank you enough for continuing to show up. Can't thank each and every one of you enough for showing up. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right, see you guys. Go Vols. You can tell it's getting late. Mike's rambling like I am.
Where are you going? Are you going somewhere?
I got all the time in the world, man.
You got time for one more video?